Right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah, Quadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth, and the sincere peace, blessings, and salutations to your Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this knowledge and truth and this sincerity. Right, it's the Brother Bars off in the GMS Arizona camp, Lord will, with another quick lesson to edify. All right, in this lesson, I'm going into the topic of the ego. All right, and the name of the video will be something along the lines of there's no room for your ego in this truth, or leave your ego at the door. And that's something that you will find out when you come into the truth, especially early on, because feeding into your ego is dangerous. See, the world is all about feeding into your ego. In the world, it's all about me, me, me. But when you come over into this truth, it's about the glorification of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. It's about becoming a servant, doing all that you can to please the Lord and not pleasing yourself and not, catering to your flesh. The ego is of the flesh. Okay. And we're here to cater to the spirit, and a lot of men come into this thing and they fall short because they can't let go of that ego. One way or another, that ego try to creep in and try to, seek for attention, seek for vainglory, seek for self-glorification. And that's not what this truth is about. So we'll start out the lesson in Philippians 2, verse 1. It says, if there be any, therefore, it says, if there be, therefore, any consolation in Hamashiach, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Here's the point. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. See, that vainglory is making things about yourself. Let's look at that word. Let's look at that word, vainglory.
Strong's G 2754. Canadoxia. Canadoxia.
All right, it says vainglory, groundless self-esteem, empty pride, a vain opinion, error. Okay, empty glorying, self-conceit. Down in the Strong's definitions, you see that there's self-conceit. All right, and ultimately that's what it is. It's empty pride and self-conceit, man. Being all into yourself, doing something for self-glorification. Now, you see men that come in and they get this truth, and the scriptures talk about how knowledge puffeth up, and they get all puffed up, and they come into this truth, and it's about building a brand, their brand, having their face being seen, everybody calling them great, seeking after, the high places and the high positions. You see that with men. You see that with leaders in Israel. They call themselves leaders. You have Alazar, a perfect example. The head of the Watchman for Israel, perfect example. Hell, Bishop Nate is another example. Really into that self-glorification and vainglory. It says, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. So it's about the men that are around you. It's about making it about the people around you. Okay? It's about projecting that love and the glorification, not receiving. Okay? It says, verse 4, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. And in the world, in most cases, you worried about your own situation. You worried about building yourself up. I came from a background where, I was like a high level athlete, right? And coming out of high school and had a lot of success, ranked, in the top players nationally, and got, I invites to these, various camps with pro basketball players and all this shit. And, won state championships, full ride scholarships to college, played D1 ball, all this. And, you go around town, everybody know your name, you build up a name. It's almost like you like a low level celebrity in a way. Everywhere you go, people recognize you. You get, the girls is coming in, all of these things. And it feeds your ego. And yeah, that shit feels good. It feels good to be recognized. It feels good, when someone is even, flattered or blown away at your presence. All that shit feeds the ego. It feels good. It does. But when you come into this truth, you got to leave all that shit at the door. Because guess what? Men come into this truth from various walks of life. I'm not the only man that's in this truth that had that type of experience. Hey, Jake is the salt of the earth. We all have many talents. We come into this thing with talents. Some brothers had a whole bunch of money. Everybody in their hoods was sweating them. Brothers had talent, man. Musicians, athletes, whatever. Businessmen. And all of that you have to put aside when you come into this truth. That's part of the sacrifice. Because guess what? When you come into this truth, don't nobody give a fuck. And that shit could bother you for a minute. And it's an adjustment period. But that adjustment is for your own good, because it's keeping you out of the ego. It's keeping you away from pride. It's teaching you humility. And it's teaching you that this thing is about the glorification of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All that shit in the world don't mean nothing, man. It's gonna fly away as a dream when this bitch is destroyed. Only thing that's gonna matter is those that are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, those that chose to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushai when they had liberty. Because those are gonna be the true legends. Those are gonna be the true celebrities when we get to the kingdom of heaven, that are gonna be talked about and spoken about forever, for all eternity. The nigga that had the state championship and the D1 scholarship, ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about him. Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, even the greatest athletes at the professional levels, ain't nobody gonna give a fuck. People are gonna be talking about the elect, the servants of Yahweh Shem Yahushai in the world to come. All right, so that ego shit gotta be left at the door, man. Jumping back, a few more scriptures. Let's get Luke 9. Luke 9:23, and it says, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. So the key word there, you got to deny yourself. All that selfishness, all that self-glorification, man, you got to put that out the door. And it's about following the Lord. You got to deny your ego. All that shit that's about you, making things about you, that's done. It's about Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay? So it says, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Okay? For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. So giving up everything for Yahweh Shem Yahushai's sake, that's losing your life. Okay? But when you try to have one foot in the world and then one foot in this truth, that's you trying to make an attempt to save your life. You're trying to preserve the things that you had, and you're trying to bring that into the truth. And the world, the love of the world, okay, the ways of the world is enmity with the Most High. The Lord ain't dealing with that. So if you truly want to serve the Lord in truth and in sincerity, you got to leave all that shit at the door and put on the new man. Okay? You got to be pretty much dead to this world. You know? All those things that you were trying to seek after and trying to achieve. And you're looking at your peers to see, hey, man, you know, you want to do better than the people around you, all that. You got to let it go. And just focus on doing the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua to the best of your abilities with truth, in truth and in sincerity. Verse 25, it says, for what is a man advantaged if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? All right. It ain't going to, at the end of the day, be a benefit to you to gain the whole world. Okay. But at the end of the day, you're going to be destroyed because you done sold out. You didn't cater to the spirit and you just catered to the flesh. Okay. And he who soweth to the flesh of the flesh shall reap corruption. The flesh is going to die and wither away. Okay. But the spirit is everlasting. That's why you got to cater to the spirit. Repent. Come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Hey, put off the old ways and put on the new. Start living to please Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay? Because like I said, don't no brother, when you come into this truth, ain't nobody going to be talking about the shit that you accomplish in the world. All we going to be talking about is holy conversation and godliness. The things that you did in the world is of no concern because it doesn't matter. It don't benefit the ministry and it don't get us no closer to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So it has no value. You know, you got to learn to let it go. Okay. Let me see a few more. This is Colossians 3:12. It says, put on therefore as the elect of the Most High. It says, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another if any man have quarrel against any, even as Hamashiach forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. All right. And let the peace of the Most High rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Let the word of Hamashiach dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. All right, so, hey, you can't have that charitable spirit, right? How you going to put on charity when you're always worried about yourself? You know, and all of these traits, all right, is how you put on as the elect. We come into this thing and we serve the Lord because we believe, you know, that we were called into this because we very well could be the elect. We very well could be that 144,000. So when you come into this thing, you got to put on as the elect. Put off all that egocentric, self-centered bullshit and you put on as the elect, man, which is mercies, kindness, you know, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering. Okay? Charity. Those are the traits of the elect. Okay, not that egotistical bullshit. And that's how you know some of these men, okay, that call themselves leaders in Israel, they don't got it. Okay, they don't exhibit these traits. What they exhibit is self-centeredness, man. Haughtiness, pride. not meekness and humbleness of mind and long suffering and forbearing one another. They don't exhibit these things. And the charity. No, they wanna be above their elders, man. They want to be greater than their teachers. They want to be the top dog. And that's because these are the niggas that didn't have any of that type of glorification or love when they were in the world. And they've come into this truth and used this truth as a way to get it. Men that have had their little moments when they were in the world, it's easier for them to humble down when they come in the truth. But once, they start seeing them comments, certain men, oh, you this great, you great, oh man, great edification. And then they see that from a few women. Next thing you know, they getting attention from women. Next thing you know, a little bit of money is coming in. Then now they're finally able to grasp a hold of what they always wanted while they were in the world, and they couldn't get that self-glorification, that attention from other men, glorifying them from women, and they completely forget about the purpose of this truth. They throw that directly out the window. Why? Because like I said earlier in the lesson, that shit feels good. And that's why we can't wait to get it when we get in the kingdom. Ain't nothing wrong with the fact that feel good, man. It's supposed to. That's why it's going to be beautiful when we're exalted and joint heirs with Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Who else going to be on that kind of level, man? Can't even imagine what that's going to feel like. So when these men get a taste of it, it's hard for them to let it go. It's like a drug, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying you got to put on as the elect. You got to let go of that egotistical shit when you come into this truth, because that's a dangerous game to play. It can suck you in and it can sift you ass out, man. You got to wait for the Lord for the glorification. It says, 1 Peter 5:6, it says, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he may exalt you in due time. You see that? Casting all your care upon him, for he cared for you. That's the point. You got to humble yourself to the Lord and allow him to lift you up and exalt you in due time. A lot of men, they want that consolation now, though. Like I said, when they get that little taste of it, it feels too good. The way it makes it caters to the flesh, and they can't let that go. And then the deceitfulness of riches and the cares of the world, man, could choke the word. And that's when you see these guys start losing oil, man. They start just doing whatever the hell they want, man, just being completely self-willed. We've been witnessing a lot of that lately going into the Passover. But ultimately the Lord is going to judge a lot of these men. Okay? Final scripture. Proverbs 22:4 says, by humility and the fear of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai are riches and honor and life. So all we got to do is live in the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And through that, we'll be led to the riches, the honor, okay, and the life, which is going to be everlasting life at the end of the day that we seek after. It's through the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and through humility, having that humble spirit, man, not that haughty, prideful, self-absorbed spirit that we see in Israel, man, that we see in the world. That's not what this thing is about. That's the things that you have to leave at the door when you come into this thing. Because if you counting on that, ultimately the Lord he's gonna sift you, man, and he's gonna get you out of there. You're gonna be searched out and ultimately cast out. Okay, so just something that I was meditating on. Just wanted to do a quick little lesson on, Lord willing. This was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory Unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace to the hope of the elect. Until next time, I'm going to say shalom. No room for ego in this truth. You got to leave that shit at the door. Shalom.